Good morning. So welcome to training. I'm Yolandi from marketing. For those that don't know me, for those that do, hello. Okay, so here we are. We are going to be training jewelry today. A lot of you have asked me for this, but unfortunately I cannot find anything on the internet about it except for how to sell jewelry and how to, I don't know, figure out how much it's worth and all of that jazz, and that's not what we're interested in. We want to know in our stores, we've obviously got a lot of silver, we've got a lot of costume jewelry, and then we have rhodium plated. I know those three have been the biggest questions from our staff, so I'm going to read a few things through because obviously I'm not going to memorize all these technical things about rhodium and whatever. So I'll read some things, then I'm going to go through this little jewelry box of my wife who's filming for me today so that we can be doing that. There we go. So some peace signs to you all. Yeah, and then let's see what we can discover as we go along. Okay, so first up we've got, let's do rhodium. So rhodium, as far as I remember, is TPG. TPG does a rhodium plating, hyperallergenic signs, stuff like that. So rhodium is a rare silver white hard metal in the platinum family. I know that they generally rhodium plate white gold and silver because it gives the same effect as white gold and silver, but it gives that protective layer so that the white gold and silver doesn't tarnish as quickly. So the biggest thing for it is that it's resistant to corrosion and oxidation in moist air. So down here in Durban, for instance, I've got a lot more humidity happening here, there's more moisture in the air, and because of that, if I have a rhodium plated ring, for instance, or necklace, it's not going to corrode as quickly as in Joburg. Rhodium also increases the durability of any jewelry it plates. So, in other words, when I was talking about the white gold, if you have a white gold engagement ring and then it gets rhodium plated, it's not going to tarnish as quickly, it's going to last longer, and every few years you'll just get your rhodium plating redone. It's often added to increase shine, luster, and durability. So it's to make it stronger and to make it shine more, because white gold and sterling silver, it tends to get a bit matty and then you have to keep polishing it, so rhodium lasts longer in that aspect. One of the biggest upsides though to rhodium plating is that it's nickel free. A lot of people these days, the same way they're discovering how many people are allergic to peanuts and how many people are allergic to, I don't know, pete, people are allergic to nickel. So, and apparently it's a lot. It's quite a big number. So now they will take someone that might be allergic to something that has nickel in it, rhodium plated. Nah, it's hyperallergenic because rhodium doesn't have nickel in. So, are there any downsides to rhodium plating? Let's see here. While rhodium plating can vastly increase the shine and durability, it's still just that. It's plating. So what plating means, I didn't actually just say that. So plating is, they're going to take this ring's a titanium ring, by the way. They're going to take this ring and then they're going to add a thin layer of rhodium. So literally they take this, they dip it, they pull it out, and whatever's left behind is the plating. So it's not a very thick layer. So the downside to plating is that it will still wear off over time. So the rhodium will wear off over time depending how often you wear your ring or your piece of jewelry, and it also depends on the acidity level in your skin. So if I have a high acidity level, that's going to corrode it faster. So you'll need to have to get if it's a very expensive piece, you'll get it replated every year. Every couple of years, not every year. It's not that excessive. Okay, so that's rhodium plating. That's TPG. Hyperallergenic means if you're allergic to nickel or any of those other funny metals, you're not going to have an allergy. It is not going to make your finger green. It is stronger, to last longer, it's going to shine longer. So it is actually a really good quality, probably our highest quality besides sterling silver that we sell in our stores. So let's go with costume jewelry now. So today costume jewelry is, let's have a look here. It's like they make it out of so many things, it's actually quite ridiculous. Like I thought, like when I looked up this, I thought it was going to be like, it's made out of copper, it's plated with silver or with stainless steel, and it's that. But it's not really, it's a whole lot more. So the metals that they can use for costume jewelry is brass, plastic, wood, acrylic. Acrylic is a type of plastic. Lead, let's have a look what else they have in here. Nickel, I don't know if I say that, pewter, and all of these sorts of metals have, they're lower in cost, obviously, and they're easy to make jewelry out of, but they don't look very pretty. So what they do is they take these metals, they'll take a brass ring or a copper ring, and then they'll plate it with sterling silver. So it makes it cheaper because they're only using a very thin layer of sterling silver, or they'll plate it with silver plated brass, or sometimes even rhodium. You can rhodium plate a cheap metal and then it looks like a much better ring, but it's actually cheaper. But yeah, so that's basically what they could be made out of. And then obviously in costume jewelry, they're also not going to use real diamonds or real, I don't know what other precious gemstones, stuff like that, tanzanites and all of that sort of jazz. So you're going to have cubic zirconias and semi-precious stones and sometimes plastic stones. So yeah, and you can't really, I don't think people come into our store looking for the high-end gemstones. Our store, they're coming to find something pretty, but they also want to find the most value for their money. So if it's 100 Rand, they want to pick the piece of jewelry that's 100 Rand, but it's going to last longer and tarnish less faster than the other piece of 100 Rand one that will tarnish faster. We spoke a bit about hyperallergenic just now. Other metals, I'm saying a lot here. Other metals that are hyperallergenic are gold, rhodium, platinum, stainless steel, sterling silver, and titanium. So if someone says to you, and I think it's TPG that also sells sterling silver stuff, if they say to you, well, is this hyperallergenic? You can say yes. Sterling silver is, stainless steel is, platinum is, titanium is, gold, and rhodium. So those are the ones. As soon as you don't know what that jewelry is made out of, you cannot guarantee it's hyperallergenic. And I can also tell you that whichever crafters do have a hyperallergenic jewelry will definitely have a little sign on their unit saying that it is. So when we're looking at, let's go with B&T, crafter B&T, all costume jewelry. None of that is hyperallergenic. None of that is rhodium plated or sterling silver plated. That is, oh no, sorry, it could be sterling silver plated. It won't be rhodium plated, but it's just going to have a very thin plate of either stainless steel or silver, just to give it that nice shine and that luster, but underneath is probably a lead or a nickel or a copper, something like that. So let's talk about how we figure out what is sterling silver. So that's one of the big ones, and it's one of the easiest ones to figure out, okay? If we have a squiz down here on my little piece of paper, sterling silver always has little markings. They either have the number 925 is a very common one for these days, and it will either say silver or SIL or sterling on it. So you'll always find these little stamps, and it depends on which country it comes from and all of that, but they like to stamp sterling silver, and the reason being is with this 95 there has to be a certain ratio amount of pure silver in this thing to make it the most silver it can be. And the reason it can't be 100% or 1000% silver is very flexible. It's not a hard metal. So if this ring was made out of 100% silver, I would be able to push it down and squish it and reshape it. And I'm sure some of you have had some sterling silver thin bands before, do see that it goes out of shape because it's a soft metal. So the most amount that they generally put these days is a 9-to-5 ratio. Okay, so let's have a look at some options here. So this ring over here is a titanium ring. You can see it's not very shiny. Let me compare it to my other one. This one's a sterling silver on the inside. My titanium, I must admit, I don't polish it a lot though. I just wear it every day, I bath with it, I do everything, and it looks like this all the time. Titanium, on the other hand though, if you have a look at the shape, it's never going to bend. It's a super sturdy metal. It's very hard. I cannot get this ring resized if I wanted to. Once it's made, it's made. You can engrave on it though, and I think some of our crafters, maybe BAT, maybe sell some titanium stuff. On the sterling silver side, I'm going to see if we can zoom in there. I don't know if you can see there's some markings there. So on those markings, on this one particularly, I think it says SIV or SIL for silver. And this ring, so I've got a wooden inlay one, which is what some of our crafters do in our stores. And if you have a look, that is not a perfect circle. So this ring changes with, it depends if I pick up something, or if I pick up something heavy, I end up changing the shape. And I can at some point get it reshaped. So if it really goes super wonky out of shape, like my wife's engagement ring did one time, you can get it reshaped. So sterling silver is very flexible, but it's hyperallergenic. It stays shiny. It does tarnish, but the tarnish is very easily solved by a little home solution of polish. You don't have to take it to a jeweler in specific to polish it. Let's go into the jewelry box. I'm not going to go through it all, but some stuff that would pertain to us in store in particular. This is a genuine Pandora bracelet. So not the BNT specials. It's a genuine Pandora bracelet with one genuine Pandora bracelet charm is the word I'm looking for. These two are BNT charms. Okay, so let's have a look first of all. On the Pandora charm, you will see the engraving on the top that shows, or the stamp, the silver stamp on the top. So it says 95. So this is a sterling silver charm. On the inside of this little ball, they also have a stamp which shows that the bracelet is a sterling silver bracelet. Over here, we've got a BNT charm which was bought roughly probably a year after this one, and we're looking at these things being about 4 years old now. If we have a look at this one, you can see this brown, coppery, brassy look coming through, and that's because BNT just has a plating on top. So some of the leaves still have a bit of silver on it, and then you see, so wherever it wears, that silver plating has worn off. We now have the copper or the brass, whatever this underlying metal is, showing through. That shows that this is costume jewelry. This is not costume jewelry. Okay, if we also have a look at the stones, these will be little, I don't know, plastic gemstones of some sort. There, one has fallen out. So they also won't, you know, they won't set these stones in, oh, there's another one's fallen out there. They won't set them in perfectly because they're not precious stones that anyone needs to worry about. This one from BNT was bought, I think, a year after this one. So this one's about 3 years old. If you have a look, what's nice about these sort of ones is they don't tarnish that much because you hardly touch this plated section on the outside. So this is the section that gets all the wear and tear. So these will last customers really long because the gemstone or whatever, the precious, semi-precious stone is not really going to wear off that badly. So it could even be plastic for all we know, like an acrylic plastic, but that's not going to wear and tarnish as much as a metal would. So you can see obviously their charms do fit on real Pandora things, which maybe someone has asked you and you didn't actually know. So BNT's charms fit on real Pandora bracelets, but BNT's bracelet and her charms are silver. Over 3-year course is going to tarnish and look brown and look like that because the silver plating or whatever they've plated it with is going to wear off. And I really doubt it's rhodium plating because that's the most expensive plating and it's a lot more hardy, and this wore off pretty quickly. So I'm going to go with a sterling silver plating on that one. Let's hit, I want to show you that sterling silver doesn't always stay sterling silver. So if you come across your mother's jewelry one day and you're like, ew, this ring is like worth nothing, I'm going to toss it because it kind of looks like this one. So this one's all brown and grubby because it hardly ever gets worn. It lies around and it's in Durban getting oxidized all the time by all the moisture in the air. This ring over here, boom, sorry. Okay, over there, you'll actually see the little number, and that's the 95. So the 95 means this is a sterling silver ring. You can also see it's been flattened on the one side. It's not perfectly round. So all this ring needs is a little bit of a polish and a little bit of, I don't know if brasso works, but I know you do get jewelry polish at like Checkers and stuff anyway, or maybe at a jeweler. Yeah, give this guy a little bit of a polish and it's going to shine as much as this does again. So that's really cool. I'm going to show you another ring that is definitely not nearly as old as this one. But once again, you can see how from your silver plating, it goes brassy underneath. So this costume jewelry ring was obviously made of brass or copper and then plated with a sterling silver, and yeah, has worn off with the acidity of the skin. Nowhere inside the ring does it say 95 or SRL, and that's how we know that this one is costume jewelry, and that is what's going to happen to it after 2 years of wearing, and one day it will be a full brass ring and hopefully still be pretty. And I don't think people, because these are really cheap, I think, you know, we probably picked it up for 40 Rand. So at the end of the day, you're not going to bother going to go get it replated. You're going to buy another 40 Rand ring 2 years later. So let's see what we have under here. Okay, so I've pulled out something so we can see the difference between some costume and silver in the chain aspects. Okay, if we have a look at, let's start with the silver since we were talking about it. So on a bracelet, obviously it's not like a ring. You can't look on the inside of the ring and find that 925, but on the other hand, it's always on the clasp. So there we go. If you look on the clasp, there's a little inscription there. Zooming in, perfect. So there on this side, it's got a little, I think it's a 95 on that side. Maybe it's on this side. There's a stamp on both sides of these. As soon as you see a stamp on it, and you can tell the difference between this one, which is much older than this one, by the way, that it's a sterling silver. So this sterling silver, as long as it doesn't get worn a lot, so it doesn't have a lot of body acid on it, it will tarnish, it will go a little bit browny over time, and you can just polish it and salt it. But on these things, it's always the clasps. So here you'll see a costume jewelry one, and it doesn't have any special clasps. You can see the brass coming through. You can even see a bit of greeny tinge, and to me, as soon as it's a greeny tinge, that means it's a copper. But yes, nowhere on this necklace anyway, is any sort of a clasp with any sort of a stamp, and you can see how it's tarnished. All of these I can feel are super light plastic, nothing precious metal about it. Does not mean it did not look pretty, or still does not look pretty when my wife wears it. Next up we have, let's see what this one is actually. I wouldn't even know. Okay, so I'm having a look. No 95 stamps anywhere, so this is one of her later pieces of costume jewelry. It's still looking in pretty good nick. Not quite as shiny, it's got a bit of a black undertone. So it's probably just made of a different metal underneath. Maybe it's a stainless steel, so therefore it's going to have a black instead of that brassy look about it. These stones are a lot heavier than the plastic ones were on this one. So the lightness of this shows me it's definitely plastic. These ones I'm probably going to go with like a semi-precious, just joking. It's just a stone, guys. It's just one of those, I don't even know, like, you can go to those warehouse guys and buy buckets of stones and whatever, and they don't really mean anything except that they're a cheaper stone. But they look really pretty, they look real, obviously a lot more real than the plastic, so that is a great little indication. I'm digging through to see what else I can find here. Yeah, so here's a little heart pendant. I can guarantee that the stones in here are probably all little, cubic zirconias or something like that. But once again, on the clasp over here, I've got the little marking for the sterling silver. So you can see that this one is not as shiny, and it's quite an old one. So yeah, just needs a bit of a polish, and that sterling silver will be back up. So it's so easy to just pick up on these clasps and just find. So here's another little heart one. And if I look at this clasp, there is nothing engraved on this clasp, nothing, and I don't think they'll ever put it on the piece. It will always be on the clasp, and you can see how nice and shiny this is. So this one was plated really nicely, so this one could possibly be a rhodium plating, because this is not a new one, so, and it's still relatively shiny and looking good, but many of the stones are missing already. But the actual metal is still looking super shiny. So to me, it's a rhodium plating because it's a lot stronger, and the shine has lasted longer and it hasn't worn off. So that is a very good thing from that aspect. Okay, let's have a quick squiz at this guy. I know for a fact that this is a really good stone, but was just put on a bit of a cheapy clasp. You can already see this clasp has all the bronze shining through on it, and it's not there we go. If you look on the inside, can you see the green there? So as soon as there's green, I don't know if you guys know those brass bracelets that people wear sometimes for arthritis and whatever, and they always end up going green, and that green is from skin acidity. So therefore I know that this one was actually, the base metal is a brass, so not a lead or a nickel or anything like that. When it comes to earrings, I can't really help with earrings except say that you know, TPG will tell you sterling silver earrings. I don't know where the markings would be on earrings. Probably somewhere on the base of the earring, you know, like something like underneath there. This is a costume jewelry earring. This is something like you'd get at B&T. Little cubic zirconia in a silver plated, but yeah, this is going to wear down and look like something else one day. But yeah, they would probably put the little marking on there, a little SS for sterling silver. And that's where we are with our jewelry. Like I said, we don't sell gold. Beads are beads, guys. Wooden beads are wooden beads on strings. And if a crafter puts wooden beads on a necklace and someone says to you, oh, is this necklace sterling silver? It's probably not. It's probably one of these guys that are going to tarnish, a little silver plated something. You can generally tell by the price whether it's sterling silver or not. But if you are in doubt, and we've got a wooden bead, like let's say this was filled with wooden beads up to here and sterling silver, or sorry, silver chain up here, and a customer asks you that, you straight away just go to the clasp, have a look if there's something on the clasp, and if there's nothing, like this one has nothing, then you know that it's not going to be sterling silver, and you can answer the customer quickly. So we're going to run through your questionnaire now after this, and maybe a great idea at this point in time while your manager gets your questionnaire ready, go and gather some jewelry that you've been curious about, you know, RON, TPG, BNT, whoever else you have there, and bring a few samples of things. Get a bracelet, get a ring, get a whatever, and let's discuss this and have a look at it while we go through the questionnaire, go through some of the jewelry, and then yeah, whatever questions you have after that you can fill out on your form. So that's me for now. I hope that this has been helpful, because the internet is not helpful. So, except for like giving us some great advice on what things are, but there was no good YouTube videos for me to give you this week. So hopefully my face has been good enough. And yeah, see you guys on the next one.